him.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're on.
Actually, if you could hold on just 1 minute, we're going to have to go back into session, and then we'll get you started. All right.
Yeah, okay. It is September 16th, 2025. We will go back into open session. Okay. How's that?
So, okay to proceed now?
Yes. Yes, you can start. You can hear us still?
All right, ready, if you would record, please.
I'll just make an introduction.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we have.
Okay. This is Cole County, and you guys all know why we're here. We're here for the salary study. The commission decided to take the step into getting a salary study done, and Condrey and Associates is online here to explain how this procedure is going to unfold for us. So I will turn this over to you.
All right, well, thanks so much. I'm Steve Condrey, and very happy to be working with Cole County. I'm hoping my answer from Mrs. Barber. Jean, you want to say a word?
Yes, good morning. We're very excited to be working with you and the employees in your departments on this very important project for Canada.
And we also have Greg Reese, our principal consultant, who is ready to say a word.
Yes, good morning. I'll just echo what Steve and Jan said. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. I look forward to working with you.
So what we have planned this morning is about a 15-minute, hour long to go through. And Greg is going to lead us in that process. And as we go through the PowerPoint, if we have questions, just feel free to ask. And at the end, we'll open it up for questions and hopefully be able to answer any questions that you have. And so, Greg, if you would start, we appreciate it.
All right. I think a good way for us to begin is by talking about the schedule for the project. This not only introduces you to the time frame that's involved, but it also is going to introduce you to the different steps that are involved in the project. So here we are in the middle of September. This is the project orientation for your HR staff, department heads, and elected officials. And this is also the time that the position questionnaire should be distributed to all of your employees. And we'll talk a lot more about these position questionnaires in just a moment. Then in October, we need those completed position questionnaires returned to us. We were hoping that those would be returned to Ms. Bryant by October 3rd. That gives you a couple of weeks, I think, to complete them. Should be plenty of time for administrator work. And then once those questionnaires have been completed and returned to us, we'll be able to conduct employee interviews by telephone. We're hoping to schedule those and conduct those the week of October 20th. Once the questionnaires are completed and we have finished the interview process, we will then develop and conduct a custom salary survey where we will go out into the marketplace and gather salary data that we'll be able to use to help you folks out. That salary survey will continue through November, so that in December we will have developed a preliminary cost estimate for you and presented a preliminary classification and pay report. By middle of January, we would hope to publish the final report, and then for 12 months after that, we'll provide free follow-up technical assistance just to help you out in any way we can to make sure you have a successful implementation of your new pay plan. So as I mentioned, it is time for the position questionnaires to be distributed. They should be completed by all of your personnel, including the department heads. Of course, elected officials would not be required to complete the questionnaire. And I'm going to take a few moments to walk through this questionnaire. You see what's there and answer any questions you might have. But before we do that, let's just talk a bit about some tips for completing the position questionnaire. Our first recommendation is that you and the employees, department heads, supervisors, and employees read it over and then set it aside for a day. Instead of just sitting down and approaching it, never having seen it before, we think it's a good idea see what's there, think about it, and then come back the next day. If you can, in one setting, just sit down and complete it. It'll probably take an hour and a half to 2 hours to complete. For those of you who are in this meeting today, this will count as your read through, so you'll know what's in this questionnaire after today. So you'll be ready to go ahead and complete it. It's okay for employees to work in groups if you have multiple incumbents who are all in the same position. There's different employees, all with the same job titles, all doing the same thing. Then they can work together as a group to complete the questionnaire. They don't all have to do it individually. And we would leave that up to the supervisors and department heads to decide how to organize that. The only thing we ask is that everyone who works on the questionnaire complete the front cover sheet so that we have the name and information for everyone that was involved in the completion of that questionnaire. But if you have employees who are the only person in their job, the only one with that job title, then they would certainly need to complete one. One of the biggest portions of the questionnaire is when we're asking you about major duties. This is where we want to list the duties that are performed in the job. And I want to go ahead, I'll remind you of this again in a moment, but I want to go ahead and say, we want you to keep in mind we're asking for major duties, not individual tasks. And what I mean by that is we can all break our jobs down into hundreds, if not thousands, of individual tasks that we're performing. We're not looking for information at that level. We're looking for major duties associated with the job. So we're talking about 10, 12, maybe 15 of the major duties that are performed as part of that job. So it's not meant to be too cumbersome, but to give us kind of that view of the job and the major duty level. These questionnaires are available in two formats. One of them is an electronic format, which is what's meant to be completed on your computer. We also have one that's a little different that can be printed out and distributed to your employees. For those employees who may not have easy access to the computer or who may not be comfortable with it, click back using the computer. We want to emphasize how important the questionnaires are. The questionnaire is the main building block of your new pay system. And it is used for a lot of different things in this project. We'll have it in front of us, we'll have it on our desks. When we conduct the interviews, we'll be using the interviews to gather extra information that's in addition to what was gathered in the questionnaire. When we are conducting job analysis and are classifying the jobs, we will rely on the information in that questionnaire and from the interview process. And when we're developing the salary survey, we use the information in the questionnaire to make sure that we're getting an apples to apples comparison to other jobs and other places, so that we're not just matching a title with a title. And then we use the questionnaire yet again when we're developing new job descriptions for all the positions. So it's very important. It's a main building block for the new system, and it is key to the timing of the study. So what I'd like to do now is just take a look at this position questionnaire and sort of walk you through it. If you don't have it in front of you, I think it should be on my screen now. So you see the first page is rather straightforward. We're just looking for the basic information about the employee. It doesn't have the information about their length of service, their current grade and step. That's all fine. We need to get that information from human resources, but we would like to know the department, the employee's name, supervisor's name, and supervisor's title. And again, if you have multiple people in the same job who are all completing this questionnaire, we'd like them to have a cover sheet attached to it for each person who is included. After some just basic introductory information, we get into this box here, which is we ask you to list the major duties. Of course, this is an interactive document, so as you can in this document, the box will expand. There's a printed version that doesn't do that. It just has lots of extra room in there. But this is where we're asking that you provide us, that your employees provide us with that list of major duties. Again, we're looking for 10, 12, maybe 15 major duties. And then once they have listed those in there, they can rank those based on order of importance. Again, we know that's kind of subjective, so times of the year, one thing is more important than others. We just have us in a general sense of what the most important things are. And then we also ask that they estimate the percentage of time devoted to each job. In the past many years, estimating the time spent on each of those major duties. We don't want anybody to stay up all night to estimate the amount of time. We're just looking for just kind of some rough figures. We want to know if one of these major duties is something you do maybe once a year.
It only takes up a very small percentage of the time. It can still be very important, but it doesn't take up a lot of time. So just kind of give us
A rough estimate of where you're spending your time on those.
my favorite one was just a couple of months ago. I got one where the employee just put
Added everything up and it came to 200% instead of 100%. And they said that's because they couldn't get everything in 100%. They had to go to 200. No, we don't know what that means. But just, it doesn't have to be exact, but just give us the best estimate that you can for those.
And then there's a question here where we ask which duties are most important, are difficult, and what makes those duties difficult. Then question 2 is a question about the knowledge required for the position. It's pretty straightforward. I just ask that the employee take those list of major duties above. And number 1, they put number 1 in the box here, and then they ask themselves, what do I have to know? What kind of skills do I have to have in order to achieve this work or to accomplish this successfully? So pretty straightforward. Then we have some more questions here about this all the specialized tools and machinery we use. There may be some heavy equipment that's being operated. There may be software programs. Different people will have different sorts of tools that they're using. Just tell us about that here. You have to have any licenses or certificates to perform your work. You have to have any special training or experience, how many years of experience, and so forth. So just provide that kind of information there. Question 3 is a question about the supervisory controls. In other words, these were questions about how the employee interacts with their supervisor. And you see here, this is just chapter 1s that apply. We're trying to understand again, how the employees interact, what sort of instructions they're getting, how they're being supervised and reviewed. So we'll just check all those that apply. Question 4 is a series of questions about guidelines that you have to follow. And again, this will be different from everybody. So there will be building codes, rules, and regulations. Maybe for some, the manual of uniform traffic control devices. Someone else might be the generally accepted accounting principles. So just give us some sense of what guidelines or procedures that you follow. And then let us know, are those guidelines very clear, or do you have to interpret them a little bit to apply them to different situations? And then question C is about sometimes we have multiple sets of guidelines in our jobs, and maybe there's a situation in which we not only have to interpret the guidelines, but we have to decide which set of guidelines apply in that situation. So just let us know about that. Question 5 is a question about complexity. What makes work routine, complicated, unusual? What kind of obstacles do you have? Some people are working that certainly makes the job complex. Some people have to follow very strict guidelines that cause a lot of trouble if they're not followed exactly. Some people sit at a desk that's open to the public and they're interrupted all day, every day. My favorite answer in 20 years to question 5 about what makes your job complicated or difficult, someone actually put in one of their coworkers once. And while we don't encourage that, we can all certainly understand that. And I'm not going to mention Steve by name, but I have someone like that I work with that makes my job complicated. Question 6 is just a series of questions about the scope and effect. What's the purpose of the assignment? That's just the basics. What is the basic part of your job? What is it about? What are you doing? How does that work affect other people in the department? How does it affect people outside the department, other organizations? Just help us understand what kind of job it is, what it's about, and how it affects others. Questions 7 and 8 are about personal contacts. We don't need a list of names. We don't need to list all of your coworkers and everything to interact with, but we're looking at the sorts of, you can certainly say your coworkers, people in other departments, but we're looking for other information, like are you interacting with bankers or with vendors or with contractors? And then question 8, we're asking you to tell us what's the purpose of those contractors. people with different jobs that interact with the banker, but they can do it for different reasons. One could be making a bank deposit, the other could be negotiating the terms of a loan. So help us understand what sort of interactions you're having. Question 9 is a question about the physical demands of the job. Just ask to check every one of those that applies, and if we don't capture everything, it's just based on give us extra information. Question 12 is again the list where you can check all of those that apply for the environment that you're working in, and there's a space to get extra information. Question 12 is just wants you to list all the people that you supervise. So if you are a supervisor, you would list the names and the titles of the employees that you supervise here. And we understand that some people are functional supervisors, they may not be the official supervisor, they may not complete the performance evaluation. But say out in the field, there may be someone who is a crew leader and who provides direction to others on those occasions. And so that's true, you can provide that information there as well. Not the official supervisor, but on some occasions I do direct report to others. And then question 12 is the question that says, provide any additional information. If you've gotten through all of this and you think there's something that we have overlooked that we need to know, here is the opportunity to do that. So again, what we recommend is that you read this over as we have just done, set aside, and then come back to it the next day. And if you can do it the next day, just sit down and do it either individually or in a group. And then I usually say, then walk away from it for 30 minutes maybe, and then come back and read through it one more time, make sure there's nothing you want to add, and then it's ready to be passed on to the supervisor. Okay. So let me pause here. Are there any questions up to this point in regards to the position questionnaire?
Yeah, so, again, good morning, Eric Boyd, Chief of Emergency Services. A couple of questions, couple comments. I guess my question is, with the public safety agency that has a dynamic, obviously obligations while we're here at work, with 90 plus employees, this survey seems very cumbersome, and in 3 weeks seems unrealistic. So I guess my question is, about 95% of this information in this questionnaire is contained in our job descriptions. Can we send those instead?
Let me speak to that. We want to give you a very high quality HR system. And the system we use to evaluate your jobs is based on this questionnaire. So we would certainly prefer to get the questionnaire completed. Jay and I have done 800 of these projects or more. And we've never had anybody, once they start with a questionnaire and they finish it, they're glad they did it. So there's a little bit of a hiccup at the start, getting people to work on it, but it should not be a big problem. I think as we just look at it and they work on it, and it actually has changed. You want to say something?
Basically what you said, Steve, Chief, I really think it would benefit you to get your people to do it. I mean, you got, get one person in each different type position because you've got a lot of people, in the same position. So each one of them wouldn't need to fill it out. They could just do it as a group.
And then I guess my other comment would be, from our perspective, due to the public safety nature of our organization and the requirements from state, federal, and local, we are not asking for job description rewrites. So I guess, I don't know if that was explained, but we're not, our agency wouldn't, I can't, I mean, you can rewrite my job description if you'd like to, but from an operations standpoint, I just can't comply with that.
They are going to do the job descriptions here. That was part of the bid. They can definitely look at the current ones you have, and then they can make a comment to that as far as that goes.
Well, I guess my question then is, what public safety qualifications does the group have to comply with all of the regulatory pieces that our agency is bound to?
Well, Jay, he can speak to that. You've worked with public safety for a number of years. Also, Jimmy,
was the head of firefighter standards and training for the state of Georgia for 10 years. Was a fire chief. He also served on the, what is it that does the
Board of Public Safety for the state.
yeah, for the post certification. So yeah, we had some people with qualifications. And Jane has worked for the 30 years with the county government and specifically worked with public safety.
And this, like I said, this system that we use to evaluate the jobs, to provide the pay grades and so forth, it is based on a particular structured system. And one good thing about the job descriptions that we would produce, given the chance, is that those will be consistent with that evaluation system. In other words, it'll make perfect sense that if someone is placed in a particular grade range, pay grade, you'll be able to look at the job description and see if it's going to
So, hugging all the time there, boy. It's Sheriff Wheeler. On these applications that we're filling out, I'm with Eric on this, that 90% of the information is in our job description, so it'd be easier to attach the job description to them and go. The problem I have with whenever you sit down and tell a deputy, if there's 5 deputies and they say each one is 25% to do a specific job, who makes the determination if it's 25% or 30%? Is that you? You're going to make the determination on what my people do? Because that doesn't make sense to me. So if we're only going to do one per job description, then I can just sit down and take the pieces out of my job description and put it in there and be done with this. Is that correct?
Well, I think you could probably use your job description to look at, Sheriff. I'll just be real honest, we've never had difficulty with the sheriff and, Jan. We've worked with hundreds of sheriff's departments, hundreds of public safety.
Well, you got one. The problem, I'll be the first.
I think y'all just try to get past this as best you can. If you end up with a job description and attachment, you need to do anything about that. Somebody's doing a higher quality job, fill out the questionnaire. So I think that's in your hands to do. Would you agree, Jan?
Yes.
Yeah, we're not gonna force you to do anything.
Yeah, I can highly recommend that we can force you, obviously. We'll absolutely oversee with what you give us.
Absolutely.
But I assume some departments might.
That's a great affair.
So I'd like to, let's proceed with remaining. So once the employee has completed the questioning, then they would pass that along to their immediate supervisor. And then there's an opportunity for the supervisor to provide input as well. And there are 2 cautions that we ask supervisors to observe. One is that under no circumstances should they change or alter the employee's answers under Part 1. Just let your employee's answers stand. And then number 2, don't make any statements or comments about the employee's work performance. Keep in mind that this instrument is designed to evaluate the job that the person does and the job that the non So we're always happy to see someone say this person does a great job, but we don't really need that kind of information, especially in this area. And then we ask the supervisor to describe the employee's position as you see it and show how it relates to the functions of the department. And then we ask the supervisor to go back and look at the list of major duties that the employee has provided. And tell us which ones that you as the supervisor think are most important. And then question 15, if you think there's something that the employee has left out, this is a chance to make observations. If you think the employee has said something that's not quite right, this is your chance to make that change as well. And then keep in mind, of course, in addition to the interview process, in addition to talking with representatives from every position, we'll spend extra time talking with supervisors and department heads. So when we talk to department heads, we not just talk about that job, but other jobs in the department as well. So we get an opportunity to talk with back to the other screen here. All right, so in addition to the questionnaire, we also want to make sure that we communicate with employees, and so to make sure they understand what's going on. So along with the questionnaire, we'll ask that an explanatory letter be sent out, which is sort of just kind of an overview of what the project is about. We also provide a PowerPoint video, which is a really, I guess, slowed down version of what I just did to walk through the questionnaire. So any employees who want to watch that can watch that, and I think that answers almost all the questions they might have about the questionnaire. And then once the questionnaires have been completed and returned to us, we will schedule the interviews. As I said, that would be the week of, should I get that right? The week of October 20th is when we are hoping to do those interviews. And then we will interview approximately 40% of the county's 351 full-time employees that are covered in this agreement. Now, we'll probably talk to more than 40% because we want to make sure we speak to at least one person in every position. So if you have a position where you have multiple people in that job, we might not speak to every one of them. We want to make sure we speak to at least a sample of those people. But then for every job where there's only one person in that job, we'll make sure we talk to that person. So every job title will be interviewed as part of this process. So we'll probably be above that 40% before we're done. And we'll conduct those interviews by telephone. These interviews are generally conducted one-on-one. We find we get the best information from employees if we're just talking with them, on a one-on-one basis. Some employees are, for whatever reason, they just are insistent that their coworkers accompany them for this process. We can accommodate small groups, maybe 2, maybe 3 at the absolute most. But we do find it's best that instead of talking to these in the interview process, that we talk to maybe some of the most experienced people in the position, ones who know the job better than others. And then finally, we like to say our goals of the jobs that we are interviewing. What we mean by that is that our team has many years of experience. We work on projects like this. County governments all across the country and in the state of Missouri. And so we all going to bring decades of background to the table with us when we come to have that knowledge. But we put the word no in quotation marks because we want you to understand that even though we have that background, when we come to Cole County to do these telephone interviews and review these questionnaires, we are coming to learn from you and your employees. We don't know anything about how the jobs are done there. And so we bring our background knowledge and we use that to learn what we need to learn from you and your team. Great. Jan, would you like to speak about the FLSA questionnaire?
Sure, I'll be glad to talk about the Fair Labor Standards Act. Since most positions are clear as to being exempt from overtime or non-exempt, which means getting paid overtime, we'll only need a few of your employees to complete this form. We'll request that the form be sent out to those employees after we finish conducting employee interviews. We all know that lower level positions are going to be non-exempt and management positions are exempt. So it's going to be those positions kind of in the middle of the pay plan that we'll need this form completed for, usually involving maybe 10 to 15 employees.
Right, so, Steve, would you like to introduce our team?
Oh, sure. So the 3 of us on the service, the project leaders, and anytime we have communication between ourselves and Cole County, it'll be one of the 3 of us will be leading that. We'll be joined by Brian Burke. Brian has a background in public works. It's not listed here as Jim Hansford, who will be working with EMS on those interviews with Jan. I have over 30 years of experience doing this type of work. Jan and I have worked together for 30 plus years. We've been in business almost 27 years. We've worked across the country, and Jan, what would you say, 700 projects or more that we've worked on together? Yeah, this whole team has been together for a long time, so we enjoy working together, and I think you'll find this easy as to deal with, especially during the employee interviews. I think that'll set people at ease jobs that we're talking to. So Gene, you'll say something about your background, please.
Sure. I worked for Athens, Clark County Unified Government in Georgia from 1975 to 2014. I retired as the HR director. And so I worked with all departments and many people throughout my career. And at the time of my retirement, we had 1,650 employees government-wide. Also worked as a consultant for the Carl Benson Institute of Government at the University of Georgia for 30 years, developing classification and compensation plans for local governments throughout the state of Georgia. And then as Steve says, he and I have had this business going almost 27 years, and we've been working with different local governments throughout the United States.
And Greg, you want to say a word about your background, please?
Yeah, so I have worked with Jan and Stephen, Contract Associates, for over 20 years now. We're hundreds of projects with county and municipal governments around the country. For this project, I'm going to be wearing multiple hats. I'll be participating in the interview process. I'll also be developing the salary survey and conducting the custom salary survey for you. And then I'll be the runner who will be developing the new job descriptions. Okay, and then we also want to mention Linda Seagraves. Linda provides administrative support for the project. You may not have a lot of chance to interact with Linda, but we always like to give her a shout out and let you know that Linda's working behind the scenes on the project as well.
All right, thanks, Greg, for that. And Jan, before we open it up for questions, why don't you just kind of go through a bit about how we put the schedule together?
Okay, so I'll develop a preliminary interview schedule and I'll send it to Jessica, I assume, to distribute to you all for your review. I'll interview at least one employee in every different position title, and of course, at least 40% government-wide. If there are several employees with the same job titles, such as deputy sheriff, we'll put a blank line with the employee name, and then the sheriff will need to fill in who we would need to talk to. Of course, we're gonna do this by telephone, so we'll need for you all to provide the phone numbers for each person that we will be talking with. If employees need to change their interview time, we're fine with that as long as it stays with the same hours. At this time, do we want to turn it over to Jessica or?
Sure, I think so. One thing I'll say, if someone has leave planned, for some reason they can't talk to us that week, but you decide we can also, we can make up the interview. On the emergency. Jessica, please.
This is Debbie, I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, as far as on the questionnaires, if we have somebody that position's not being filled right now, it's vacant, how should that department approach that?
You should give us, you should fill it in.
Supervisor.
Position, so we'll include it in the, in the day plan.
Okay.
So either the department director or someone else in the department who knows that job really well can complete that.
Coming from the HR part of it, as far as the beginning of information on that particular employee and the hire date, is that verified by HR before you guys look at it, or is it after, or does that matter? Do you want these questionnaires, I guess, collected by Jessica and HR here and then submit it to you guys, or do you want the departments to submit it directly to you?
No, you should, or somebody should get, Cole County should coordinate that. And the information about hire date and things like that, we've gotten from the payroll. And so we won't rely on that, information. It's just helpful for us, when we're interviewing, to take a quick glance and know how long someone has worked.
Yeah. And that is definitely what that hire date is the date they were hired, not in that position, if that.
Correct.
Okay.
That's right, that's right.
Okay. And I know the schedule that you put up as far as how long to fill out these questionnaires. I know our people are busy, our department heads are busy, and this is a new added burden to their list of things to do. Is there any wiggle room in the schedule?
We we'd like for there not to be, because if we gave you 2 weeks, it'll take 3. If we give you 3 weeks, it'll take 4. So I think people just need to hunker in and do the questionnaire. If we don't get it from you, we can't start the project. But in order for us to do this in a timely fashion, it'd be very helpful if it's done. They've got about 2.5 weeks on the June.
They do.
Yeah, we've never given anybody more than that. Everybody's been able to do this, and everybody's busy. So I don't think it's gonna be as burdensome as people tend to believe it is.
And I'll,
Is that fair enough, James?
Yeah, remember we are looking at the holidays. In terms of the salary survey, we're gonna be best served and get better results back on that salary survey if we can get that wrapped up before people start, taking off for Christmas. So that's kind of we need to get everything else done before we do the survey, so.
Yeah, but basically we need to get the salary survey out and complete before Thanksgiving. Because it's almost impossible to get people to complete the salary survey between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And it used to be that way, but Jan is not. Yeah, so that's the holidays that we're looking at.
This is Sam Bushman, I'm presiding commissioner. We have a new assessor that came into office as of September 1. So he's got 2 weeks he's been here, so I don't think he knows really his employees or anything. So, we can help him, but I'm looking at our new assessor and I'm thinking,
Well, Jan actually has a background in property appraisal, Jan, so.
Yeah. Absolutely, I'll be the one, interviewing in that department. Also, Brunberg might be interviewing in that department. He's a certified appraiser also, but I used to work in the tax assessor's office years ago, so I'm very familiar with it.
Are you looking for additional work?
be kind and gentle to him, in other words.
We're hiring.
when you mentioned that about the marketplace and looking at that, can you explain to this group, since probably this is the last time we'll all be together till it's done, how you guys handle that as far as what you look at, how far out you go, and
So, Greg, you may have to start to lose my voice a little bit, but we'll survey 15 different organizations and we'll coordinate with you to select those. And I would say we'd stay probably in Missouri and to look at counties your size. We'd also look at Jeff City because you're right there, that neighborhood, your county seat, and try to find counties that surround you that may be common, but not too rural. And also other counties across the state that are comparable to you in size and function. Jane, you add that, Greg?
Basically, we're going to also, when we interview the department heads in each department, we talk to them about, who are your competitors, who are you losing employees to? So we want your feedback on who you want included in the salary survey.
So you'll be, I'm sorry to interrupt. So some of the comparison you're talking about, it's not just going to be county entities, correct? Because I lose people to the state of Missouri, to the Missouri State Highway Patrol. And I'm looking at Locke, and he's losing them to the Attorney General's office.
Yeah, as I said, we'll have a discussion with the department heads as we go through, as Jay said, and work on determining those. We won't decide and impose it on you. It'll be a collaborative decision. And in terms of the salary survey itself, we probably developing it. What I mean by that is I'll use the information from the questionnaires as well as from the interview process to develop a set of short descriptions for each position that we're surveying for. And we'll send that out in the survey so that when other organizations are looking to see if they have a job that matches, they'll know, sometimes the title can be the same title in different organizations, but the job can be entirely different. So we'll do our best to make sure we're getting an apples comparison by developing custom descriptions for each position in the survey.
So we're just, so it's not necessarily we're doing one for every employee. We're just wanting to do one per position.
and the way they're looking at
It's
it,
about
we'll choose benchmark positions, probably 40 to 45 positions will be the ones that we'll survey, that we know we can get good matches.
Basically, that's how a lot of them do it, is they take a good percentage of them. And like they say, they usually go more than 40% by the time they're done.
Right.
But with unique titles and unique job description, it would be hard to take something to market, depending on what they find out.
I don't remember, I think we have, I can't remember if we have 9 job descriptions. So all from what he said, he wanted our experienced people to be able to interview. So we would just do 9 my experienced people, and then he's still going to interview more supervisors than that, and we can give them names for the job descriptions that are under there. But because I'll be honest with you, if you're wanting me to do 115 of these before October 3rd, it ain't going to happen.
Well, like she had said, you can do a group of them. So if you have a group of deputies, then
So that, if we do 2 hours per form, that's 268 hours for me. So is that overtime covered by the commission?
No.
Exactly, and that's why I'm trying to dwindle this down to it as little as possible. I can handle a little bit, but I can't do 300 hours before October 3rd. There's no way.
again, this is something the commission paid for. They hope everybody works to get them the information they need so they can make a better determination. But I think if you do these as groups, even though you have 90 people, how many of them, how many titles? You said 9?
Yeah.
So then sorry, you guys go ahead. You're used to this. I shouldn't be talking.
So, right, if you have 9 positions, then you'll need to complete 9 questionnaires.
Right.
And you can either do that by group, or you can designate your most experienced 1 or 2 people in each of those job titles to work together on the questionnaire. And of course, you can review that.
That makes more sense.
Yes, right. So no, not certainly not right. For if you have you may have 9 positions and have 90 employees, and if that's the case, we don't need 90 questionnaires. We need 9.
Question, like my maintenance department, I've got staff of 7. I'm the director. I got 2 assistants, but everybody else is classified as maintenance. So I just need 1 maintenance, 1 assistant, and myself, right?
That as long as you feel that all of those people, all of your employees who are currently classified as maintenance, they're all doing pretty much the same job, and maybe they're not, maybe they're distinct, and you'd like us to consider that. You can have each, you can complete it based on those job duties. If it makes any sense, David, Jan, maybe on
They're doing the same thing.
Okay.
If you think the jobs are different, then they should do that.
We pretty well do everything the same.
Okay, that's fine.
So do you need a new front page for each one of those that he's considering for that particular questionnaire? Do you still want?
We would appreciate that, yes, that really just helps us.
So just that front page, do it 4 times, but have the same data behind them. Does anybody
Yeah,
else?
we don't need a separate copy for each one, just a separate cover sheet.
Anyone have any questions while we're here?
Debbie, is the study gonna include benefits of the comparables as well?
No, that would be a separate study. And really, Dan, you don't talk about how they can assess your benefits.
Do you currently use a broker for your benefits, like for your health insurance?
We're partially self-funded, but we do go through a broker to get to the insurance itself, to the vendor.
Right, we would recommend using your broker to give you the information on what other jurisdictions are doing, what their benefits are.
I guess the question is basically when you go to the market and look at all these other employers, are you going to consider our benefit package as well as their benefit package when you're analyzing the value of that job, or is that really have nothing to do with it?
It has nothing to do with it. We don't like the two. We want you to have good benefits, but we also want you to have good salary. So we're gonna do a salary to salary comparison, at least get you to the mean of the market, and hopefully above the mean of the market is where I'd like for you to be. And, so it's, when you say you do total compensation, it's just, it really does not make any sense, to conflate benefits and, salaries. To do them separately makes sense, but to conflate them does not make sense.
Well, and we've always offered a good competitive benefits that I consider, but we do want to make sure those are in line with, to me, who you're comparing us to too, though, who you're comparing us to people that have the benefits too, but maybe that. Sure.
Eric Landwehr, Public Works Director. Our department has a career path for entry-level employees coming in, and then other jobs too. There's a career path on how they can progress over the years. Are you looking at something like that in this study, or is that going to be ours?
Absolutely. We have career ladders for people. Say if someone comes in as a road maintenance worker, they can, after a couple of years, if they're doing a job or even less than that, they can become a senior road maintenance worker. And then someone could be an equipment operator and then become a heavy equipment operator. So we'll have career paths like that.
So that'll be part of the product that you produce will have a recommendation on that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure will. Yeah, we always do. And we realize how hard some of these people that require a Class A, driver's license. So we want to make sure we get you competitive in the market for that.
Do you take into account incentives? For instance, JCPD offers a $10,000 sign-up incentive for sworn personnel, $5,000 for unsworn.
We're not looking at incentives.
Okay.
Well, you could look at them. You know pretty well what your competitors are.
Yeah, I don't like them.
Well, everybody used that COVID money for, like $10,000 signing bonuses, things like that. I think that's kind of gone away. It was quite problematic for some jurisdictions that didn't offer it.
Commissioners, do you
One
guys-
thing I will say, as you go through the process, I think you have, our telephone numbers, and you're welcome to call us to talk about any problems that you have. We'll talk with, all of the department heads and elected officials that head of the department. We'll probably spend 45 minutes to an hour with you about every job in your department. And then we kind of fan out and we talk to the supervisors. And they may take 20 to 30 minutes, and then the average employees will take 15 to 20 minutes. So it's not a very burdensome time. And we suggest that for the interviews, that you give us their mobile numbers. They don't have to be in a fixed place. And that just makes it a lot easier on the employee than having to come to a central location. Would you not agree, Greg and Jan?
Yeah, that's worked beautifully.
Yeah.
Yes, we always, for those who may be in the field, we always try to make sure that they are in a safe place. That's when we're conducting the interview, so we'll remind them of that.
Commissioners, do you guys have any other questions or want to bring up anything else? Okay. Nobody else have any questions? Going once, twice?
My only question is for I'm the supervisor, but I'm not a county employee and I'm not an elected official.
Well, what's your title?
I'm marshal, court marshal. So I have deputy marshals under me who are county employees. I'm a state employee, so I'm technically not.
You wouldn't fill out a questionnaire.
Correct, but they're handing it in to me and I'm reviewing it?
Yes.
Okay.
As their supervisor.
Yes,
Okay.
we appreciate it. Yes.
Yeah, we appreciate you doing that. Absolutely.
Kelly Meyer, Cole County Juvenile Office. And we are not county employees. We're employed in the court sets our salaries. We're employed in the court sets our salaries and dictates our job descriptions. Are we supposed to be doing this?
I wouldn't think so, if you can.
They are,
You're still county employees, right?
I did not.
We write the checks.
Let me make sure, but I didn't get anything from juvenile
Yeah.
court, so I'm assuming you're not included.
no, you should have them, Toby, hang on.
Hold on.
You should have them on the list of county employees. They are paid by the county, so we did include them in.
But we definitely need, I lost, I don't know what.
Okay. Is this the, family center?
Yes.
Okay, I thought it was juvenile court. Okay.
Family center sounds
I
smart.
didn't get that.
We are the juvenile court, the facility that we work in is called Wagner Family Center, but we are the juvenile court.
Okay.
If they're county employees, then we'll include them. If they're state employees, like in a lot of states, you have district attorney's offices that will have a mix of, county DAs and ones that are paid by the state.
Okay, but we are county employees, so.
Toby, you're getting reimbursed for state as the county pays for these employees. So they're included, they've always been included as county employees, even though you're getting reimbursement from the state for some of their salary, not all of their salary. So,
Okay.
but
So they should be included in here.
Yes.
Is the county able to set the salary for these positions?
well, as of, they can submit a budget and ask for certain salaries. Yes, the commission has to accept those salaries or go back to the court of something, court and bank to.
No. So by statute, the court sets the salaries.
So Jan, maybe this is something we need to discuss, not in this meeting, but so we can understand the kind of catch-22 essentially. We're happy to include behind where the counties, but would you say that?
Yes, that sounds good.
Okay.
Maybe you can get with Jessica and get it right. So time, later on today. Discuss that.
Okay, well, I think that unless anybody else has any other questions.
Well, we appreciate your time. You put us through our paces today, I would say. And so we're looking forward to working with you. And I would just say that we're going to do a very good job. So, I think that you get good reports, just about everybody. So we're looking forward to working with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good day.
Debbie, do you need to give what you or whoever is going to be sending out and when and?
Well, the questionnaires are definitely in every department's hands. So we're going to try to follow these people's schedule. They set the schedule. If you can get them back to either Sheila.
Hold on.
Somebody needs to send us the schedule.
Let's hang on, we got other
It's in the
conversations.
letter that Debbie sent.
Yeah.
It's in that letter.
It's in the letter that
This is a meeting, so one person at a time.
So we're going to definitely try to meet their schedule and have them back by October 3rd. No, right?
Yeah, October 3rd.
To the HR department or Jessica, either one.
And you want on paper or electronic?
We're going to scan them in if you do paper, but if you want to do electronic, that would be the best because that's how they're going to get their data.
I was thinking we can scan them and email them over to. Well, it depends how big it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it can get pretty big depending on how many you do. And so let's just plan on it, having them to Sheila or Jessica by the 3rd.
That's okay. I can plug that in.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you one for my job title, one for my assistant, and one for maintenance.
And you could get your maintenance together and have them, the five of
That would probably be better to
have the five of them do the questionnaire.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm going
What's
to
it
guess
having?
all of mine are going to be in one group and you will get one question. They're all do
Same
the
thing.
exact same job duties. So I would say they will fill it out as a group. And
If you want to fill out a different form, so just
I'll-
so they
I'll fill out-
know
Yeah, I'll fill out it.
that all of those employees were counted in this group, right? So fill out this top one for each one of them, but only fill out the back as a whole.
Gotcha.
Okay?
So, question, now I'm gonna need direction. Are we really going to let these people rewrite our job descriptions for our public safety agency? I have grave concerns about that.
I think you stepped out of the room when they introduced the one person they had for
I
action.
don't, whether they have experience or not, they are not here. They are not responsible for the safety of the citizens of Cole County. And I do not feel comfortable with anybody rewriting job descriptions that dictate our operations, the education, and the requirements of our staff.
I think you need to give them the respect to write the applicant, to write the
Absolutely
job.
not. I am the chief of emergency services.
Can I finish?
No,
Let me
I'm not
finish.
addressing you.
Okay, then address them.
I think you need to tone it down,
Yeah.
Mary. I think let them do their job. And if you don't like it, then you make an argument against what they've done.
Absolutely.
And I respect your opinion on this, but I think we let them, we're hiring them to do a job. We don't have to accept everything they give us.
My understanding is that we're hiring them to do a salary study.
Yes.
I don't know how writing job descriptions that dictate how we operate.
We didn't ask them to give us 10 commandments on how to run a county, and we'll live by those commandments. That's not what they're doing for us. These guys have been in business for 30-plus years. I trust that they will do a decent job, and if they don't, we'll tell them. But I'm not ready to cut them out at the beginning.
So my understanding is they'll take what we put in and they'll craft it into a job description. They're not gonna change the duties of our staff or the percentage they do. They're gonna take it and all put us into a standard format, because right now we all have different formats for our job descriptions. This is my understanding, correct? So they're not gonna change what our staff do or the qualifications. They're gonna put them all in the standard format, and then they're gonna compare our salaries to other entities that are comparable to us. That's what I understand. So I don't think that.
I understand that piece of it, and that's fine. But again, our job descriptions are written in a format that is unique to our accrediting bodies and done in the manner and format in which they require. So again, I know that I'm being hyper-vigilant about this, but a lot of work has gone into building our policy, procedure manual, and our job descriptions to comply with accreditation and be unique for our agency. And I have a whole lot of heartache allowing somebody that I don't know who they are to come in and mess with that.
Well, they said they'd be talking to each department head and elected officials, so make that clear to them.
So I just have an open mind about it. I'm not crazy about salary studies either, but just, we need as much information, and I think Harry is correct that we'll be able to accept what we want to with it. I'm more looking at the salaries, so I'm tired of having meetings where we have to kind of be subjective and pick and choose winners and losers, and that's really what brought this on. It's not that we want them to rewrite your all policies, procedures, job descriptions, stuff, and so I'm fine with leaving that alone as much as possible. If you don't like it, then that's when we need to know about it. But I think everybody needs to get us as much information as we can, even Family Center, Pringer Center. I think we need that information. It might help the argument of the courts, or it might help our arguments with the courts when it comes down to budget time. So I think we need all of it in there. So just take a little time, deal with a little bit of a pain, and let's see what happens with it. So,
Debbie, how much are you going to pre-review before you send them off? If there's
not our job.
No. I mean, if there's questions that aren't answered, are you going to say, department elected official, you didn't answer question 12 on the questionnaire, you need to complete it?
No.
That's not up for us to
We're
look at.
just collecting them
yeah.
and sending them on. If they want to go back and reach back out to that supervisor that signed off on there, then that's up to them.
We might look at this front page to make sure that information's correct with the year's length of service, but past that, we don't have any intentions of
Changing
or touching it
But
at all.
they have all of that. Am I correct?
So what did you give them? Did you give them org charts?
No.
Would that be helpful to include?
That might be helpful if you want to turn it in for, and like they said, they're gonna meet with each department, so that would be the time to have all that, I would say.
Okay.
So, just kind of reiterate this, so I'm doing, and I don't know if it's.
You guys need to be talking to these two right here. Sheila.
The nine positions, but they want us to do a front sheet for everybody?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
I just wanted to get that right, okay. I just want to make sure that when I turn it in, she doesn't call any of it.
And I don't think they've asked for all the job descriptions that we currently have they asked for that?
I've not been involved, Debbie. I've not been asked for anything.
And they really haven't asked that much as far as just the list of employees.
Should we attach our job descriptions to these two?
I would.
If you want to.
I would.
I don't think it'd be a bad idea at all.
I mean, because
Then they
the
have them.
information is in those job descriptions, and quite literally, we're gonna do some cutting and pasting and to fill these out, but I just wanted to make sure we'll just attach them to it too.
I'll just say I'm very thankful the county commission's looking at doing this. And this, in my 5 years as a director, salaries has been the most challenging and frustrating and difficult thing I've had to do. And to have some sort of consistency to allow me to direct our public works people out in the field instead of having to deal with this or assist me in doing it. I hope the result is big for us. It's just our county structure is very inconsistent on salaries to begin with. So just getting something in place, I think, is a win-win. And I know there's some different feelings about how it's going to affect us, but I think just have an open mind, see what the end result is, and hopefully it's a good outcome.
I know when we did the interview for this particular group, these people stood out as one of the best one, obviously, so.
Anything else?
Come up.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn, stand and recess. Make the motion to then recess until